Another episode, Nothing's Off the Table. I have my friend here, Juliette, aka Mrs. Warner. We are in Kevin's studio in beautiful Palm Beach, Florida. I met Juliette because she started coming up on my TikTok For You page all the time, talking about being in sobriety, recovery, a relapse, all that good stuff we'll get into.
All that good stuff.
But you are the first mother in recovery that I've ever had on my podcast. Normally, I've had just I've had a couple old guys on, but I think I loved what you were doing because I was like, oh, this is like a cool mom. She's got 4 kids. She's got a nice life. And like you're out there talking about the nitty gritty of alcoholism, addiction, et cetera, et cetera. And I think that's important. I think we need more moms in recovery out there in the world. So without further ado, welcome, Juliette. Welcome, Mrs. Warner. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Take us from the top. Where are you from? And give us a little background.
Sure. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here. There's nothing I'd rather be doing than having a conversation about this stuff. So I'm really, really grateful. So I grew up in Philadelphia. I don't sound like I'm from Philadelphia, but I am. I was always like jealous that I didn't have the Philadelphia accent.
It's better that way, at least for this episode.
I love Philly people. But I grew up in like a relatively normal household. You know, my parents don't have addiction or alcoholism in their families, but there's also a ton of secrets in my family. So I don't know that for sure. But in my immediate family, I'm the only one. I've got 2 sisters. They had the same upbringing that I did, but they didn't, go down this path at all. So
Normies.
Are you from a family of normies?
My mom's family is normies. My dad's family is not normies at all.
What about brothers and sisters?
I have one sibling, a 36-year-old sister, and she is a normie.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So we're the black sheep.
Yes.
Yeah,
proud.
So very proud to be the black sheep. I started drinking and using pretty normally in high school. I feel like everybody else was doing it too at that time. And I definitely liked it more than everybody else. Like I was always the last one to leave and the first one to start, right? But it was normal. I blended in really easily then. But as high school continued, by the time we got to senior year, it was abusing my friends that had like ADD, their prescription pills. That I always say is the gateway drug. I don't know if you agree with me, but like that just opened up a whole new world for me. Because now I'm like pharmaceuticals.
I was put on 120 milligrams of Concerta when I was 7 years old. I hated Adderall. I was on Concerta, Adderall, Vyvanse, Ritalin. I hated it all.
Right. So so that makes sense. So you're not going to have that experience.
No.
But people that don't have ADHD,
yes,
we love it because to us, we're like doing coke.
Yeah.
So for me, that I guess I was allowing myself to abuse pharmaceuticals. So why not try this pharmaceutical or that pharmaceutical or that pharmaceutical? Like at that point, it wasn't like it was a big jump to go to the next thing.
Got it.
So that's kind of where that started. And then we were all like abusing benzos. And then I'm a product of Purdue Pharma Oxy-80s.
Amazing.
When were you born?
I was born in 1994.
Okay, so no, I'm older than you, but
I never got to experience Oxy-80s.
Yeah, so I was in high school when they came out. So I'm 40, and so that was over 20 years ago at this point. And that really was the first time that I fell in love with anything.
When was the first time you tried an Oxy?
Senior year of high school.
Snorted it?
Mm-hmm. At that point, like I say that stuff was the gateway drug is because I learned how to snort drugs doing the Ritalin and the Adderall. So then that became the way that I preferred to do things.
Yeah.
once you sort of do that, you're like, well, I'm not going to swallow this,
Yeah, of course.
obviously. So I remember we were going to a Dead show, and there was a lot of going to concerts. Like, I kind of grew up in this weird hippie culture. My high school, like, everybody, it was cool to be a hippie. It was not cool to like play football or be a cheerleader. Like, it was cool to be like a degenerate hippie that wore like patchwork and tie-dye and like dreadlocks. So in high school, I have like dreadlocks in my hair. I'm wearing patchwork. We're going to a Dead show. And like we were snorting Oxy 80s in the car on the way there.
Mm.
And I remember I threw up, and then I might have snorted more probably. And then it kind of kicked in. And I was like, okay, I can do life as long as I have this.
Yeah, it felt so good.
And I
Yeah.
was just like, this is like, people say that they have that feeling of like, this is what's been missing, or like that I have arrived,
Yeah.
that the big book talks about. And I really felt that with the oxys, with the opiates.
How long were you doing opiates for?
I mean, that was my whole, that's really like, yes, I was definitely like a garbage can before I tried opiates. But once I tried opiates, that was it. It was game on with opiates, and the rest of the stuff I couldn't be bothered with,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, of course. The first time I tried opiates was because I had actually been to rehab before for Xanax abuse. And when I tried opiates, I got opiates because I had my face stomped on in a bar fight, and I got opiates. And I was like, they say take 10 milligrams. I took 20 milligrams. Like, ooh, I kind of like this. And I
Yeah.
remember just being like, oh, this is actually better than Xanax for me. Did you go to college?
Yes.
Where'd you go to college?
Well, I went to a lot of colleges. You know how that goes.
Yes, yeah.
But I did, basically all the schools in Philadelphia. And then I was at Villanova, and I got shipped to Florida for treatment. And I had like a semester left, and I was too scared to go back. So I ended up going to Lynn University. Got to give them a shout out, because they were like, oh, give us your transcripts. And they were like, oh, we'll take every F, every D. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, you can graduate right now.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. So I graduated from Lynn in Boca. But yeah.
I have a couple friends who went there.
Yeah.
I should have probably gone there.
It's I mean, I love that school.
Were you using opiates throughout college?
Oh, yeah. It took me like 7 years to graduate college.
Wow.
Like, I literally went to probably 4 different schools in Philly and then Lynn. So yeah, it was not like, it wasn't pretty. My college wasn't pretty.
When did you realize that this was a problem?
So it was spring break, and we were all in college, but all my, I grew up in Philadelphia and I went to college in Philadelphia. So at break, all of my friends from high school came home.
Yeah.
And we were all like ragers. We partied hard, and we were all partying, and we were up all night partying. And the next morning the sun was starting to come up, and I knew I like needed to go get some Oxy. And I didn't really have that much money on me. And I had a girlfriend there who I hadn't seen in a while. And she was like, don't worry about it. Come with me. I got you. And so I went with her, and she took me to some row home in North Philly and shot me up with heroin for the first time.
Wow.
So that's when I realized it was a problem. Not right away, but like 3 months into that, I went to rehab for the first time.
So the first night you shot heroin, you obviously were not planning to shoot heroin.
No.
And when you got to this place, she was basically just like, we're doing heroin. And you were like...
I was like, fine. It's so weird looking back, because I'm so scared of everything now. I think after becoming a mom, like, this happens to a lot of women. I don't know if you've seen it with your fiance, but
Definitely.
Yeah, like, you just become like scared of so much stuff. And it must just be that like instinctual, I have little people that I care for, so nothing can happen to me, you know? But when I was young, I was afraid of nothing, like nothing. Like, I would have like, I would tell the cops to go fuck themselves,
Yeah.
you know? And now I laugh because I'm just so different. But at the time, yeah, I went to this basically,
Dope house.
yeah, for lack of a better word, dope house, and saw what was happening, and I had zero fear in my body. And there was never a moment where I was like, maybe you shouldn't do this. Never.
Wow.
Not in any of my drug use.
And after the first time you shot up heroin, were you
I
like,
never did anything else ever again.
you thought that the Oxy 80s were the best thing ever, and now shooting heroin, this
Well,
is,
yeah, it's just much more economical.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. So how long were you out there shooting dope for?
so 3 months probably to the day. The thought came into my head, maybe I could be like a sober person. Maybe that would be cool to try. It was really trivial. I thought about it, and like the next morning I was like, Mom and Dad, I think I need to go to rehab. And my parents were like, hallelujah.
Did your parents know you were shooting heroin at that time?
Yes, because my little sisters were like little narcs. And and they knew the girl that, did that with me, and they knew that she was into that, and then her and I started hanging out. So like my sisters just sounded the alarm on everything. So the family knew, and they tried to blockade me in any way they could from doing it. Like they took my car, they'd take all my money, all that stuff. But I ended up, of course, always getting what I needed. And when I asked to go to rehab, they were all very happy and very relieved and very naive.
Yeah.
I mean, you know why I say that.
Yeah, of course.
We don't know what we're up against.
No. And I think that especially parents who aren't addicts or not familiar with addiction really don't understand it. Like my dad understands it because of his childhood and his family, but my mom really struggled with it and internalized it and put the blame on herself. Like, what am I doing wrong as a parent? Where she just doesn't understand addiction. Like we're sick. It doesn't matter. The fucking Pope could come in front of us and say, don't do heroin, and we're going to leave and go do heroin right at that point.
Oh, yeah.
How long? Okay, so you go to treatment, you get out of treatment, sober, not sober.
I get out of treatment. I get shipped to Del Rey, actually, for the first time. And I stay sober for maybe 4 months, but I don't think I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And I don't think I have problems with a plethora of other things. Like it's just this one thing that I have a problem with. So relapsing, I didn't even really consider it a relapse. It was just another day in the life,
Yeah.
And one day I just decided to not be sober anymore. And actually, I think back on that time, and I was really on a pink cloud. And the day the pink cloud burst is the day that I used again.
Mm.
And I remember it like it was yesterday. Were you ever on a pink cloud?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
like a wild ride, being on a pink cloud.
Yeah. I wasn't on a pink cloud this last go at sobriety.
Oh,
but
me either.
The first time you ever get sober,
Yes.
you're on a pink cloud.
I never had a pink cloud experience since.
When that pink cloud burst, you went back to shooting dope again, or you were drinking?
No, it was like I think I like went and had some drinks with a friend, and then like maybe we got blues. And I remember the Florida street
Yeah.
drug game was a little bit different than what I was used to. So I think we were doing blues and
M30s.
yeah. And then I mean, I was living in a halfway house at the time, and like I just didn't even have the thought like, uh-oh, I'm gonna get kicked out, right?
Yeah.
Like no planning, nothing. I don't care about anything. I'm living in the moment, And I eventually had to go back to Philadelphia, back to live with Mom and Dad.
How old are you at that time?
Probably 22.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a lot of similarities.
Yeah, I know that, and I don't even know your story, but
Yeah.
like I just know that.
Started very young and very wild, no fear. By 22, I was in and out of treatment centers already, back at my parents' house. And 22 was the first time I got shipped off again, where I actually was like, okay, I'm going to maybe try this AA shit and what these fucking crazy people about God and higher power and this nonsense.
Yep.
I'm going to drink some of the Kool-Aid, maybe. You're 22 at this point.
Yeah, I didn't get there at 22.
You went back to shooting heroin again.
Oh, yeah. So it was an off and on thing until 26.
What were those 4 years like? Like, describe some of the chaos for me and for our viewers
Yeah,
of what that was
I would
like.
love to. So I was really that double life person because I grew up in a family, like I grew up in an affluent town, an affluent area outside of Philadelphia. They do not make people like me and you there typically. Like
Yeah.
I was definitely
Or so they
someone,
say.
yeah. But everybody knew I was, I was like a stain really in the town that I lived in. So I had to put on this, I had to clothe myself in such a way where I would appear to be something I was not. And I would try and get the best job I could get and boost myself up in all these other ways to hide who I really was. So I remember like a lot of those years when I would be on again, off again. So when I'm on again, it looked like this. Like I would be working in the Comcast building, which is the highest building in the city at the time. And it was like touted as the nicest building in the city. So I had like so much pride. I was working at this company at the top of the Comcast building. I have all these nice outfits, suits, high heels, like my hair's always done. And on my lunch break, I'm getting on the L and I'm taking it to K&A and I'm like marching up the block in my little business suit, buying my stuff, copying my drugs,
Hmm.
and then going back to my office and like getting stuck in the bathroom. That ever happened to you?
I had a
Like,
job that I got through a friend, and they called the friend and was like, something's up with LJ. Like, he's fucking sleeping at the office all day basically, and like something's up. And yeah, so yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
yep,
I can
yeah,
definitely relate to that. A lot
yeah.
of like double life chaos, barely putting it together on the outside, but
And then
dying on
just
the
like
inside.
going through people, like people were so disposable to me because once you found out, like I was never talking to you again.
Yeah.
Like, so the people I grew up with knew me. They knew what I was doing. They knew Juliet has a major drug problem. So those people were no longer a part of my life. I would have to move on to like the next set of people and the next set of people and the next set of people. And I was just like in the city, just blowing through people. Not because any of them did anything wrong. It's just like once you kind of figure out who I was, like I had too much shame to face you. So, um, a crazy thing is that I never had an overdose somehow.
Wow.
But
Well, I feel like you were doing heroin before there was ever fentanyl.
exactly. I stopped like a while before fentanyl came out,
Yeah.
which is my saving grace.
Yeah. When I stopped using opiates was probably at the very, very, very beginning of when fentanyl was coming around. Like very, very
So
beginning.
lucky.
Yeah. Because I would have been dead.
Oh my God, me too.
I was snorting 30-30s a day.
Yeah, exactly. You would have been dead
Yeah.
so fast.
Yeah.
And me too. And then I guess the other minor detail that I haven't talked about yet is that I learned how to speedball.
Oh,
So that kind of kicked it up another notch.
my favorite.
Oh, so that's what I really mean when I get stuck in the bathroom because
Yeah.
it's, it's the Coke that just you get frozen wherever
Yeah.
you are and you're just, that's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else is going to happen.
Yeah. And you can't talk.
Till you run out. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't talk, you can't do anything
Yeah.
besides go again, and go again, and go again.
It sounds like it's so painful to talk about and think about, at least for me. But yet, when I was doing it, I didn't know how to do anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the craziest thing to think about now. All those times where I was like stuck in the bathroom or stuck in a room or stuck here or stuck there.
Never there. Yes.
And I was like, oh, I hate this, but I love this. And the next day I'm like, I'm never going to do it again. And then 2 hours later, I'm in the exact same room or bathroom doing the same exact thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
26 years old, you go to treatment again.
Yeah, there was a bunch of treatments in between.
Got it.
But I never stayed at any treatment center. Like the first time I went to treatment, I stayed for 30 days. It was at Karen in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And then, like I told you, I came down to Florida and that didn't last long. And then the other treatment stays, there were probably like 6 or 7 more before I was 26 years old. But I would go and I would check in and like I would just start feeling so bad, even like after the detox, just
Yeah.
like so bad, like those post-acute withdrawals and just how crazy you are. And I just couldn't sit still and there was just no way I could stay. So I was like an escape artist. And it was just this crazy cycle of me falling on my face, saying I wanted to go get help, checking in somewhere, and then escaping,
Hmm.
and then falling on my face again. So, like, that's just what, 22 to 26, let's call it. That's what it was. And that was brutal. And I remember right around 25 was the first time I ever really said to myself, like, I had that true introspection, like a moment of clarity. And I was like, I'm a loser.
Hmm.
And it wasn't until I was 25. It should have been when I was like 18 when I started all this nonsense, but I never stopped to think. I was just one track mind, go, go, go all the time. So I never stopped to think about where I was in my life and where I wanted to go and maybe I should make some changes. None of that was ever a part of my purview. So I was back at my parents' house again at 25 years old. All my friends are now like, lawyers, getting married, in med school, like you name it. Everybody like went on with life. And I was 25 and I was doing what I was doing back at my mom and dad's house. I remember thinking, oh my God, you are a loser. That was the first time. And then that never went away until I finally got my shit together years later.
Did you ever try to stop doing heroin on your own, or were you always stopping whenever you got sent off to treatment?
Yeah, I never even tried, to be honest.
Yeah.
Never. I mean, I remember when Suboxone first came out and I did go to a Suboxone doctor and they were going to give me the pellet. I don't know if
Yeah.
you remember that.
In your butt cheek.
Yeah, I think it was in the arm where when I was going to do it, but same thing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get you had to have like 3 or 4 days before they could give you the injection. And I couldn't get the 3 or 4 days. So then I went on maintenance, on Suboxone maintenance. This is like before Suboxone maintenance was a thing. I was like a guinea pig for Suboxone, And even then, like I couldn't not use, even though I had Suboxone to take every day. Like it didn't matter. Like the obsession was so grand that I would just, if I did take my Suboxone that day, I would just wait for the hours to pass where enough time had gone by, where it was coming out of my system a little bit and I could get high again. So like that didn't work. Nothing really worked.
Yeah. It's really interesting. So in 2016, when I went to rehab, I was going off of doing 900 milligrams of Oxy a day. And I went through detox, obviously. And then when I got into residential, the doctor there was like, you're going to get on Suboxone. And I was like, you can go fuck yourself. I'm not getting on Suboxone.
Thank God.
Absolutely not. And I want to be careful what I say here because there's a lot of people on Suboxone maintenance who could be helpful for and is maybe helping them not shoot fentanyl and heroin right now. We're in a crazy fucking time with fentanyl.
I will add to that when you're done.
But I will say this.
Mm-hmm.
I got sober to be off of any mind and mood altering substance, not to be on any type of pharmaceutical maintenance program, whether that be antidepressants or anything else of that matter.
That's really awesome. But yeah, I think a lot of people ask me by virtue of my TikTok page, do you consider being on Suboxone sober? And I always answer yes, but you need to have a plan. As long as you have a plan to get off of it, and as long as you are working your 12 steps and like living right. And now there's Sublocade. People have such a solution there. So anyways.
They had something for me called Vivitrol, which was, it's like a gel shot they put in your butt,
I tried
in your
that
butt
too.
cheek. Yeah. Which is actually interesting. Now they're saying that there's studies that show that Vivitrol can help compulsive gamblers as well. Which is, I'm a compulsive gambler, so whatever. Back on the topic of you're 20, 25, you have this realization, I'm a fucking loser, which, by the way, I had when I was 28. So that's when I got sober for my last time. What changed for you? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, you didn't get sober until you were 30.
Just before 30, yeah. I did get sober for the first time when I was like 27, and I got my first year ever, and then I used Kratom, like
Yeah.
half knowing what I was doing, but
Yeah.
not like fully knowing. So I had to start the clock over again, but
But you didn't go back to
no,
shooting dope.
I never went back to that stuff. So last time I did hard drugs of any kind is I was probably 26 years old.
And then your sobriety journey began at 29.
Mm-hmm.
What did that look like, your first go around? Because it's very rare that I've had people on here who get it their first time. So I love kind of hearing people's journey, because it's very, very difficult for someone, especially of our caliber, to get sober for the first time and be like, okay, that's it. I'm done. AA, 12 steps, life is good. And then 15 years later, like, yeah, I got 15 years. I tried one time and I'm sober.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, I tried like 1,000 times. So
Yeah.
I think that from probably the age like 25 when I had that loser realization until when I finally got sober, I truly wanted to be sober like you did when you were 22. And I was like, okay, I'm going to give this AA thing a shot. I'm going to give it all I have. And I hope to God it works for me. Well, it never worked. It never worked. And it never worked. And then I started to believe I was constitutionally incapable of being honest, because that's, what we read at every AA meeting. And when you're the person that can't get it, you're like, oh shit, I must be one of those people that's constitutionally incapable. And I started to believe that. But come to find out, I really never worked my 12 steps, like actually worked my 12 steps. I would like start them and then I never really followed through with anything. So when I finally got sober, I had been to so many treatment centers. Gosh, it's hard for me to remember. Okay, so I went to G&G Holistics, which is not in business anymore. But at the time, it was great. And I went there because they let you keep your cell phone. And and that's why I went. It was in Miami. So I was like, okay, I'm going back to Florida. We're going to try this again. We're going back to Florida. And it was the only other time I stayed in treatment. Because remember how I told you I'm an escape artist?
Yeah.
It was the only other time I stayed. I went to G&G. I had my phone. So I called the lady that was my sponsor in Philly that saw me fall on my face time after time after time. And she goes, Juliette, you have been in and around AA for way too long, honey. It is about time you work these 12 steps, and we better get it done while you're in there. Because we don't have much time. You're a ticking time bomb. And she was right. So thank God I had my phone in there, because I was able to call Debbie. That was her name. Every morning at 8:30 a.m., I called Debbie and I wrote my 4th step while I was there. And when I got out after 30 days, I flew right back to Philadelphia and I read my 5th step to her. And oh my God, I'm going to cry. And it was the first time I ever was free, And I finished my steps and I started sponsoring really fast. I mean, I think I had like 2 months sober and I had sponsees. And I love that, because what do you mean I have to wait a year?
It's by the way, that's like not a rule.
No, it's nowhere in the big book. That is human error. I hate to say it. So, I got sponsees right away and I was just doing the deal. And simultaneously, I was getting married and I was navigating that whole thing, which is I married into a waspy family, which I'm a girl from Philly. Like, I'm not waspy at all. And it made me think about our conversation this morning about how, like, I'm going to give you a different wardrobe and maybe even name, depending on who I'm trying to impress. Like, and I married into this really waspy family, and I ran into some like, what's my identity kind of thing in my early recovery because I just wasn't sober long enough to really know who I was. And I remember I didn't feel good enough and like all that sort of started to happen. But, luckily I just soon after had kids, and then I found my identity in kids and being a mom.
You remind me a lot of my fiance, Mia.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, she's a normie, but she was crazy like us, but she had the ability to like party for a day or 2 or 3 and then just be like, okay, like this is
Lucky bitch.
yeah, like it's 3 days, we gotta stop, and I'm not doing anything for like a week or a month or whatever it is, and had no urges or cravings. But we had our kid 20 months ago, our son Vincent, and she's just like totally morphed into this completely different person, and she has found her identity in being a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And before that she was like the fun party girl bopping around LA doing her thing, and now she's like this very grounded, caring,
So
nurturing mother. You have 4 beautiful kids, and I met your husband briefly when we were in LA. I like him a lot, but he also, I feel like he's no bullshit, and he's got 18 he's coming up on 18 years sober.
Yep.
Which is incredible. What's motherhood been like in sobriety?
So, motherhood in sobriety has been amazing because I never really found my stride in anything up until the time that I had my kids. Like, I started a bunch of different things. I told you what my college experience was like. Like, nothing was ever fluid and nothing ever stuck. So I didn't really feel good about myself in terms of what I had created in my career or like my professional life up until that point. So having kids came at the perfect time because I was kind of like, okay, I got a job now, and this is a really important job,
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, I mean, I'm such an addict. I had my first, and I loved being a mom from the second that I became one. And I feel lucky. It sounds like your fiance has had the same experience. A lot of women really struggle with that. And like, I didn't struggle at all. I never felt more secure in my own shoes than I did once I became a mom. And in typical addict behavior, I was pregnant with my second one when my first one was a couple months old. And then I did that 2 more times. So I was like, I gotta have as many as these fucking things as I can in as short of a time period as possible. And that's just what I did. And I love being a mom. So, but I did run into trouble. I haven't stayed sober this entire time.
Let's talk
And
about it.
yeah, I think that it definitely goes hand in hand with like being a mom and having 4 babies all at once. Like, I had 4 kids that couldn't put a sock on for many years. And then suddenly one day I had 4 kids that were in school. And I was like, oh my God, nobody needs me. Like, I'm not the kind of girl that can just like go to lunch 9,000 times. Or I'm not a girl that goes to lunch.
Yeah.
I have no interest, And so I felt like I didn't really have a purpose, I think. And that's right around the time where I decided I was going to try and drink like a normal person, because after all, I had been sober for such a long time. I had changed so much. I had certainly earned the right to drink.
Yeah, you're not shooting heroin.
I'm so responsible. Are you kidding me? Like, if you followed me around with a camera, you'd be like, this girl deserves a drink, And that I think is the best thing to talk about. Like, we need to talk about this because I do think that it's not only that I didn't think I was an alcoholic, I was convinced that I was not an alcoholic, because alcohol, I had no interest. I was so in love with my drugs that I never wanted to drink. And if I did drink, it was like I had a glass or 2 of wine and that was it. So I always drank pretty responsibly. And then when I decided to give it a try after all this time sober, I was really shocked. Turns out I am an alcoholic and like a really nasty one.
Wow.
Yeah.
So during this time period, though, are you going to AA like from the time you had your first child until your fourth child and they're now in school. Are you going to AA? Are you working a program? Are you sponsoring? Or do you have a
No.
sponsor?
This is a great question. And thank you for highlighting this because no, the answer is no. I had 4 kids in 4 years. And once you'll see this, once your kids start school, it's almost like going back to high school. It's so interesting. And you'll just have all these new friends and like your whole life you'll be seeing this group of people is your life, right? So my kids, luckily, we go to this wonderful school and all the other parents are amazing people, but they're not sober. None of them are sober.
Yeah.
I think my husband and I are definitely the only sober couple. There might be like a few randos, but for the most part, all my girlfriends are not sober. And I guess little by little, I kind of just watched them and I felt maybe left out or like I had FOMO. And I was not going to AA regularly. Like my husband and I both were probably going like once a week to meetings, sometimes 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. We also travel a lot. And, if it was a week that we were traveling, we might even miss an entire month of meetings. So I was not sponsoring. No, I was sponsoring, but I was doing that whole thing. What do they call it when you're working like 1, 2, 3, and 12.
Yeah.
And that's it.
You're two-stepping.
Okay, right. That's what
You're
it's called.
You're 1 and 12 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I was two-stepping.
Yeah.
So I was definitely not writing any inventory. I was probably long overdue for another 4th step. I was not praying and meditating regularly. And I think that it was all sort of the perfect storm when I decided to have that drink,
Yeah. I think it's really important because relapse, unfortunately, is a part of, I would say, I'm going to throw out a number. This is not factual. No one quote me on this. I would say it's a part of over 95% of addicts and alcoholics'
Wow.
journeys.
Do you think?
I really do.
I mean, I'm happy to hear that because it makes me feel normal.
I really do. But you know what I do like seeing, and I say this not in a way of like I like it, but it's important. People who have had long-term sobriety that stop working a program, that stop going to meetings or sponsoring whatever, and they go back out and they think they can drink again or do whatever again.
Mhm.
And it's important for somebody like me to remember that and understand that and hear that, because that just proves to me that like no matter how much work I do, no matter how good my life is getting, I'm never cured. This
Mm-mm.
disease is like it's dormant in us forever.
Totally.
Forever. And I'm personally the kind of addict where like if I go back out and take a sip of alcohol, like I'm gonna be like, okay, this is great, but I'm calling the dealer.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to drink, like
Yeah. I think it is important to highlight both that because we're told that that's going to happen, right?
yes.
And everybody always scares you into thinking, okay, if you do end up drinking, like you're going to be back to your DOC in no time. In my case, that didn't happen. But what I do want to tell all of the viewers is that didn't need to happen. I got brought down to a lower bottom than I had ever felt before. It was emotional. Like
Yeah.
I didn't lose everything in my life, luckily, but emotionally speaking, lower bottom than I ever felt in the past doing the hard stuff.
Yeah. Just felt like
I mean,
shit about yourself.
I was like, I don't want to say I was suicidal because like I have 4 kids. I would never leave my children on this earth, but I definitely was like, I wish this plane would go down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
totally.
It was bad.
The first day you drank after your relapse, like did you plan it, or was it kind of just like I'm out to lunch with the girls and they're drinking rosé and I'm like, oh, you know what? Today's the day. I'm having my rosé.
It was totally unplanned and it was totally fine. I had like a half of a drink and that was it.
Wow.
And that's when I was like, oh, well, this experiment's going to go great.
Yeah. How long did that experiment last for?
So that experiment went totally fine for probably a little while. And then in like rapid succession, I had like nights that were totally, just disasters. Like blacked out, fighting with everybody, got behind the wheel of my car. Like it was really bad. So that started happening. And then even then I was like, no, I'm still not an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to monitor myself more closely. Like, I got this. Don't worry. Like, that won't happen again. And then like it kind of kept happening, maybe not as bad as that one time where I was like driving and fighting everybody, but I kept blacking out. And I kept blacking out. I kept blacking out. And then everyone was like, you got to stop drinking. Like, you got to get sober again. And I wasn't ready to get sober again. So then I started sneaking it. And I would buy like the airplane bottles. And like I would go on trips. It was summertime. It was the summer. Was it last summer? Yeah, it was last summer. And I was traveling the entire summer. And before every trip, I would have airplane bottles in my socks in the suitcase. Like, I'd bring like 30 pairs of socks. And like inside every sock was like a Tito's airplane bottle. And that's when I was like, holy shit, you're an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
I could not believe it. But yeah.
And, it's so funny. It's like, did you even need that many socks? You're going away during the
No, I
summertime.
needed that many bottles.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the point.
Yes, exactly. When did you come back?
So
Why did you come back?
I had my last drunk was a really bad one. It's pinned on my TikTok if anybody wants to hear it. I'm not going to tell it here because it's too long. It will take up too much time. But it was a gnarly story. We were in the Bahamas. I was in the Bahamas with the 4 kids by myself and a friend and their kids. And I blacked out and I lost one of my kids at one of the pools. My kids are young, really young. And anyways, it was just really ugly. My husband had to charter a plane to come pick us up because like my kids were like in danger in a foreign country and I was drunk.
Where in the Bahamas were you?
I was at the Atlantis.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like Disney
We were
World.
in Nassau. Yeah. And yeah, it's like super crowded. I mean, and who knows what could have happened. So Alex.
Can we talk about that day?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I would love to kind of hear about you black out at the pool and you lose your kid. What ensued there? Because how do you find your kid when you're blacked out?
So I brought a nanny with me. And nanny, she was just like my friend's daughter who was 18.
Yeah.
And so my friend's daughter's with me and at this point, my husband is like, you need to stop drinking. And I'm sneaking it, right? At this point. And so I'm pretending I'm not drinking. And so he, unbeknownst to me, had a conversation with her before the trip being like, hey, just make sure, like if Juliette's drinking, like I need to be called right away because it's just not going to be good. And so she saw, I guess, at some point that I was getting drunk and she called him. And so by the time I blacked out and I passed out in the hotel room, he was already on his way.
Mm. What was...
a Falcon 900. No, I'm just kidding.
I assume that wasn't the most enjoyable Falcon 900 ride you've ever had?
No, it was really... I mean, I have to give my husband so much credit because I walked onto the plane. I wasn't blacked out anymore. I walked onto the plane and he gave me a hug.
I wanted to ask you, what was your husband sober, 17 years, 16 years at this point?
Mm-hmm.
What was his reaction when he saw you?
He gave me a hug. He literally gave me a hug.
Wow.
And didn't call me names. I don't even think we exchanged any words because I was just like...
a mess.
Yeah. I wasn't like, I was barely drunk anymore. Like I was totally like, I remember every minute of this, you know? And I got on the plane and gave me a hug. I sat down. My kids were, bless their hearts, they're so young. My oldest one, we talk about it. I mean, we talk about it. We all talk about it.
Yeah.
I'm super open with my kids, but he really like remembers all of it. And he's just like, yeah, mommy, like, please don't do that again,
Yeah.
But, it was a long hour ride home.
Yeah. It's, kudos to your husband because a lot of people would obviously flip their lid, but then you have someone who's obviously in the program and, it's just coming from a place of love and empathy.
Yeah.
And he knows firsthand that like what you're doing is not intentional and that you just can't help it.
Yep.
And I think that he deserves an applause, Andrew.
A
if
big
you're watching this.
applause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, listen, my fiance has treated me with a lot of grace over the last 5 years that we've been on and off in my active addiction. And she's helped me tremendously in my, the last 2.5 years, 3 years that we've been together in my sobriety. You get back to Florida.
I get back to Florida and I do not get out of bed.
Got it.
For probably almost a week. And somewhere during that week, we figured out that I probably should go to treatment. And I went to treatment.
Where'd you go?
Driftwood in Texas.
Oh, my cousin just went there.
Really?
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's great.
I hear they do amazing work there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Voyage and Driftwood work, together sometimes. So that's why we knew it was a great place. And
you come home.
Yeah.
And
I come home, it's Christmas. It's Christmas.
But when you come home, like you have to go back to AA.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And you're ready.
Yeah. Like, I'm ready.
Tell us about the last, how long do you have right now?
Almost a year.
When's your sobriety date?
I think it's the 11th November.
Oh yeah, you're right here.
Yeah. But I really, I'm not celebrating.
Why not?
Because I have celebrated so much and relapsed so much.
So what?
That I just, this time I'll celebrate when I have 5 years or whatever.
You need to celebrate.
No, I'm not celebrating.
You need to. You have to though. You know why you have to?
Maybe if I come to New York and we go somewhere really cool or something, but.
No, but not for you, for everyone else. For everyone else that's sitting in that seat in that meeting.
Yeah, I mean, you have a point.
That's been in and out maybe 1 or 2 times less than you, or maybe 100 times more than you.
Yeah.
That like see someone go through what you went through and like comes back and takes a year. And like, I'm not saying you need to have a fucking ticker tape parade down Palm Beach or whatever, but you got to take that chip and you got to celebrate it. I mean, people need to see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why we do it.
You do have a point. Yeah. I just, I'm really open in the meetings and, everybody knows my story and I will take your point though. I will take that into consideration because that is important.
What have you done the last year that has made you feel so good in sobriety, and what's different this time than the last time?
I would say that a combo of things. First of all, I got back into my faith, which when I got sober finally at the end of that horrendous decade of my 20s, I really knew I needed to figure out who God was because I had prayed so many times to just this arbitrary God and I have no idea who I'm praying to, right? And so when I finally got sober, I was like, I know that's one thing I need to do. I need to figure out who God is. So at that point, I got really into the Bible and Jesus and built a relationship with him. And then over the years, it's sort of gone like this, But after I came back this last time, I was like, I know that I need to make it a priority to put effort into that relationship. And so that's part of I think the real freedom and the peace that I feel is definitely my relationship with God. And then also I started meditating. I think that meditation is one of the most radical things we can do for our recovery. It is part of our steps. The 11th step, we're supposed to be meditating. I would say 95% of us aren't,
It's hard.
It's hard. It's hard, but you get better at it really quickly with consistency, you know? Some days are like, I'm like, I just wasted 10 minutes because I don't think I meditated for 1 minute of that, but every time you just sit down and you do it anyway, it is moving the needle. You are getting better at it, So that's really helped me. And then, last but not least, I would say the TikTok thing has really, really changed the game for me because I started my page as a way to just almost like therapeutic for myself.
Yeah.
I needed a place to park my big personality.
Yeah.
Like my personality gets me in trouble out there because I'm like, I'll say things that are just borderline inappropriate or like,
Yeah.
and with the TikTok thing, I was like, this is kind of cool because I have this like need inside to speak. Like I love speaking. I love words. I'm fascinated with language. Like I'm fascinated with personalities and all this stuff. And I've been told so many times by different people over the years, like I could listen to you talk all day.
Yeah.
And someone said it to me over the summer. And I think that that's really what made me think, okay, I have to figure out a way to use my voice and like park my personality somewhere. And I didn't know what that was going to look like. And I would never have guessed it would be TikTok because I thought TikTok was for like teenagers.
I hated TikTok.
I was like, yeah, I'm like, I would never guess that it would have been TikTok. But then I had this little friend. She's like 14 and she's not really allowed to like text. And the only way I can communicate with this little girl is TikTok. So I had to get a TikTok account. So then I have this TikTok account. I have like 2 followers. It's like this little girl and like some random person. And I'm like, all right, I don't really want to have this TikTok page. Like I should figure out a way to use it. And then one day I was like, someone told me, well, you have to have a thing for TikTok. Like you can't just post on TikTok like you would on Instagram. Like on Instagram, I just like post family pictures and like where we're going and like it's just random.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, no, on TikTok, you need to have a thing. So for about a week, I was like, all right, I wonder what my thing could be. Like, do. And then I'm like, oh, duh. What do you mean, what's your thing gonna be? Like, obviously, it's this story of yours. Like, it's this amazing, sad, joyous, beautiful, crazy story.
Yep. Listen, you just started popping up on my For You page. Like for literally a week straight, every time I'd open up my TikTok, you were the first video on my page.
That is so good to hear.
That's why I messaged you.
I know.
And
there's no bigger compliment than that, by the way.
And by the way, don't you think it's kind of weird? The day I decided to message you, I was in LA for like 48 hours.
Yeah.
And you were in LA with your husband.
Yep.
And I messaged you and I was like, I love what you're doing. Do you want to come on the podcast? You were like, yeah, sure. Blah, blah, blah.
I go, yes, I would love to. I'm traveling. I'm in LA, but I'll get with you when I'm back home.
That's
and
right.
we'll discuss dates. And you were like, no way, I'm in LA too.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, do you know of a good meeting?
Yeah.
And you were like, I got sober here. I certainly do.
Yeah.
I'll meet you there. And then secretly I was like, okay, good. I get to vet this guy.
Yeah.
Like I get to get eyes on him.
Of course.
And then I met you and I was like, way more excited.
I felt like your husband was also vetting me too, by the way.
Probably.
100%.
I'm sure he was, yeah.
And then the even crazier thing is that your husband and I went to the same fucking high school in New York.
That is so crazy.
I went home, I told my mom that. I was like, it's really weird how God works.
Yeah.
Like he put us in each other's path for a reason. I don't think the podcast is just the tip of it.
Yep.
But I really love what you're doing. And, I'm 30. I'm 31. Fuck. I'm 31. And I don't have a lot of friends who are women who are moms in recovery. I have friends that are girls in recovery and whatnot. But you have, in my opinion, you have the ability to help a lot of people. And I say that because your personality, like you said, is just very easy to connect with. You're very approachable. You're funny. You're charismatic. And from your TikTok, you are very passionate about sobriety. You're very open about your sobriety. And I think what I found when I started the podcast was I was doing it for me at first. I was like, this is like a freeing experience. I could talk about all this fucked up shit that I've went through that the New York Post and the Daily News have written about me.
You could tell your side of the story.
Correct. And then it kind of turned into this thing where it's like, I am building a brand for myself and my family in recovery. It's another layer of accountability for me. But more than that, like, I love talking about this shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, I'm open about it. Like, I snorted OxyContin. I stole from my family. I did all this fucked up shit. But like, now I don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore because I work a program in Alcoholics Anonymous and Gamblers Anonymous.
Yep.
And there's no more in and out. There's no more gray area. I don't come on this and talk to you and preach all this shit and then go out there and like start flipping people off or
You
cheating on my
can't.
wife or
You
like any of that
can't
shit.
now.
Correct.
Like when I
Correct.
feel myself slipping, I'm like, no. We're not going to be a fraud.
Correct.
You know? And that's another synergy that we both have. Like we both started our platforms really for like accountability and therapeutically, really just for ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we're like, oh my gosh, we love this.
Yeah.
And other people are seeming to like it too, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
It's really cool.
And I think, you know, there's a lot of people like, okay, you're in Palm Beach, I'm in New York City, LA, like that is the triangle that I've been to. And like there's a lot of really great recovery over there. There's young people recovery, there's old people recovery, and the speakers are good, the meetings are good. But then you have all these states in the in-between and above and below that don't have access to like these fucking amazing speakers we have in New York, LA, Miami, Florida, whatever, fucking all over the place. And they get to watch these stories and they get some hope and they get some inspiration. And they may hear something that says, you know what, maybe I'm going to go to this meeting tomorrow. And maybe I'm going to go get a sponsor tomorrow. And maybe I'm going to try this 12-step thing.
Yeah.
And I think that has now what's kind of evolved for me and made me realize why this is so important. And connecting with people like you and other people. But I love that you're a mom of 4. I love that you're sober. I love how honest you are. I'm going to link Juliette's TikTok and Instagram in the bio of this episode. I'm currently behind the scenes trying to convince her to start her own podcast. That's to be determined. But I really appreciate you coming on today. And I'm looking forward to our friendship and
me too.
Whatever comes of that and helping people together.
Totally. Thank you so much. This was, I would not want to be doing anything else. Like that was the most fun hour ever.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.